Present. The meeting's been duly constituted, and the first order of business is call to order and approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve and a second? Discussion? Add, subtracts.
Yes, I would like to add the my report.
Under 8C.
Yes,
Council?
yes, please.
We don't need to add it.
Oh, okay.
There's space already.
But we need to add this one, right? Yes.
What's that
So
one?
this is the child care program
Okay.
report.
Where does that go?
Again,
Sorry.
under 8A. I'm gonna stop providing water. It's very dangerous stuff.
If you had. Sorry. I will undertake a Zen-like calm. Okay. What do you want to call that one? This is 8A1.
The child care program report. 8A1. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Sorry to all listening on the tape in the days in the future. Okay, anything else? All in favour? Opposed? Carried? Public participation. Thanks, Fred. Thanks. Sorry, guys. Scott Gordon.
Thank you. You would like to make a presentation, and we will be quick. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that everything had to be in by the middle of last week, and we just put a packet together with some ideas.
We may be able to cut you some slack.
Great, thank you, sir.
We've got a package for everybody, so you can
Okay.
I'll look at it later
It
too.
would be best of your worship to advise them to do this next time. But
Well, you know that you have 2 minutes and 2 minutes
Yeah,
each.
it will be two.
Is that going to be
Yeah,
adequate?
that's
Because we don't want to
adequate.
rush you unnecessarily.
No, that's
We're
okay.
having a meeting in 2 weeks if you want to do it.
We're
I
on
don't
some
think we-
time issues, so we
Yeah,
probably
we're,
put it up
so,
today.
really
Fantastic.
quickly, we're Lions Bay people, we want to stay here, we love it here. We have found a piece of property which we have an option on, subject to due diligence. The piece of property is what we call the wedge, which is at the end of Brunswick Beach. And for orientation, this is where the rail crossing is. The public beach, which is the ire of Brunswick Beach, is up here. Here is the tail or the wedge. It's
Yep.
undeveloped at this point. Magnesia Creek goes through it. There's a sliver of land which we have the option on, which is part of it's on the south side of Magnesia Creek. The bulk of it is on the north side of Magnesia Creek. The lot is 8,000 square feet, which by itself seems like a nice sized lot. Unfortunately, through the due diligence process of the setbacks from the creek, the setbacks from the rail line, they were left with a footprint to build of about 25 square feet.
This is all creek setback and building setback, and this is all that's left to build on. That's the setback from the railway line.
So the green area.
Is the lot.
That's a lot.
That's
Yep.
8,000 square
Back
feet.
there.
And Brunswick Beach Road only goes to here, actually. It stops there.
Yep.
And then the top of bank is this first line, and then there's a setback requirement of 15 meters from there, which brings you to about here, and that's on both sides of the creek.
Yep.
So what we've discovered is that this whole 8,000 square feet, together with this is all boulders here, it's retaining the railway line.
Yep.
That's the footprint.
Yep.
So, we're okay with most things. You have to put the bridge in. We have the prices on the bridge and we're comfortable with that. You have to bring services in, we're comfortable with that. Then what we find is when we look at Brunswick, Brunswick has the Esplanade, which through this part of Brunswick Beach averages 15 to 20 feet.
So this is the
From the high water mark.
Yes.
Yep.
And that
And that's
15
property
to
line.
20 feet has been taken over by the property owners. You
That-
cannot, build on it unless it's historical, but you can landscape it with hard and soft landscaping.
Yep.
So people just take it over. Likewise, the road right-of-way, which is on the rail line side of the property, people in fact take it over. So the 5,000 square foot lots that people have live like about 8,000 square feet because of this.
The extra
Yep.
area.
Yep, I'm familiar with most of these issues.
Okay, so we come up here to the esplanade, and the esplanade in front of the wedge ranges from 96 feet to 145.
Yep.
It is just treed, it's never been
It
used.
has no access, there's no road access, there's no
Right.
real pedestrian, because it's across the creek. But there is a little area here on your zoning map that's designated for park.
Yep.
So what we propose, if I keep going, is possibly, would the city consider subdividing off this piece of property? We'd leave the esplanade. The minimum esplanade would always be 20 feet, but you still retain all this for esplanade and all this for esplanade. And this would be esplanade and the park would stay there. It wouldn't be any waterfront property, but this would be consolidated with this lot.
Just put the two maps side by side so we can see before and after.
So the green is what we call the wedge, and it's called Lot B. That's Lot B. And then what we would just propose is to take a piece of the esplanade and make sure that still the esplanade is always there, the waterfront is always there, the park's there, there's still lots of esplanade. And
Let's do another 2 minutes because there's two people, Fred.
We're prepared to pay the fair market value for it.
It could be
with-
determined by a third party. We've estimated that right now we've tied up this lot for about 700,000, which due diligence we're thinking is probably a little too much from all the things.
But that was a private sale, I assume.
Yes.
Private
Yeah.
sale, so that's, but what we've done is just to estimate this, if this were 10,000 square feet, this value would be about $810,000.
Okay, obviously we can't do this discussion in 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
So,
We've left your package.
thanks. As you probably know, absent the need for rezoning, subdivision is a staff exercise. It just takes place through the administration. We don't have anything yet the council can make a resolution on. But in principle, just looking around the table, I don't see why we wouldn't consider it. The two questions. The setback requirement from the high water mark in the current esplanade area is 90 feet?
50
No.
feet.
No.
50
50
feet.
feet.
Okay.
50 feet to the high, 50 feet from the high water mark until you can have a built structure.
Right, and that's currently zoned watershed and environmental protection.
Yes, it is, sir.
Owned by the municipality?
Yes, sir.
And we respect all floodplain requirements and all of the height elevations.
I sort of take that for granted because you wouldn't get your building permit otherwise.
Exactly.
So,
So
Yeah.
so in closing, we see it as a win-win. The village gets something, we get to create a single-family home of
And
modest
it would be
size.
for us. It's not for anybody else. It's us. It'd be our home, our family home, and it wouldn't be a big home. Probably, well, a little big. It's about 4,000 square feet, I guess. But we're hoping to keep enticing our 5 children home again. So we'd like to build a home, and the reason it's that size is we'd like to own the yard rather than some people just use the esplanade as a yard. We'd actually like to own the yard so that we can use the yard.
okay, well, I mean, I would say, looking at nods around the table, I've had a very brief word with Councillor McLaughlin on this. I think you need to bring it to staff. Staff would handle it. They would, if there's an exchange issue or a monetary issue, council would have to make a resolution. But it seems fairly straightforward to me. Do you know at this stage of the game that land, which is currently designated watershed environmental, which is wrong by the way, it's not watershed. The watershed is 400 meters up the hill. Environmental maybe. Does it have to be swapped for like land
No.
elsewhere?
No,
Only
because
park.
No, because it's not waterfront,
And it's not park.
It's not
no,
park.
and you can,
Shauna did some primary investigation off the email I sent out, so the staff's already got this in hand.
Obviously, this is not sufficient time to do this, but we sort of have to stick to due process. So leave this with us for now.
Do
But-
you want us to leave you these
That
presentation
would be
boards,
great,
Mr.
yeah,
Mayor?
yeah.
You have one of these in your handout,
Yeah.
and you have the small versions of 8.5 by 11 of the colors.
Fantastic.
But if we could leave the actual dry mounted ones for you.
So, is everybody au fait with what's being requested? I think we are. So now it would just be an administrative process. Until such time as we need to do a rezone, if there is one, and I don't know that there would be, which is, as you probably know, a public hearing process and so on. Anne, good to go? You've got what you need?
Good to go.
These future discussions coming back might not be in the public,
I don't know.
negotiations and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
so-
certainly the monetary
so-
part would be closed, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and
Is this your aerial, you commissioned this, or?
Yes, sir. We,
But we didn't have an aerial over, we found somebody who had them.
You found something?
actually,
We didn't.
I'd like to know who that is.
We just sourced this.
McElhaney Associates, who are surveyors
Oh, I
and
know the
engineers,
name,
have all
yeah.
this, so it was a very reasonable. In the package, we've included a letter from the owner of the wedge that we can in fact act on his behalf. We have an owner's authorization, and we've also included a section out of the Municipal Act, or the Provincial Act,
Local government.
Local Government Act, which deals with disposition of public land.
Very
Fantastic.
thorough.
Any further observations?
No, so it's not rezoning even though before it, or now currently it's designated watershed and now they want to change it to residential? That's not a rezoning.
Sounds like a rezoning to
It's a
me.
rezone.
That would
I thought we
definitely.
just said it's not a rezoning?
Well, we're going to be guided by staff, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Our portion is RS1, but I don't know how it, if you consolidate, I don't know if you have to extend it, or if it
Yeah.
automatically extends, I don't know.
You know, we would have to subdivide public land and rezone.
Okay.
That's the rezoning process. So this is not going to happen in the course of the next week or so, but in principle,
Great.
sounds like
Thank
something
you.
we should pursue.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming, guys. I don't know your name, but are you interested in addressing council?
Yes.
Please do so. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you very
Could you
much.
state your name?
I'll make it quick and fast. My name is Vlad. I moved to Lions Bay 2 years ago, and I bought the property at 50 Southview Place. Since I moved, I talked to everybody back and forth saying that I want to do the landscaping at my yard, which in the end became very nice, not just for me, even for the village, but everybody likes it. Now, I just got a letter from the village yesterday, or actually today, and I marked it in points with things, what they've been addressed to me, and then things that I didn't do it
I wrote it, I know what it says.
Thank you very much. And then I just, before I start the work, I done a big survey at my property, and then I involved Nikki from the work yard, which we had emails back and forth talking about one and the other. Now, one of the emails says there, one of the points says there that we never got permission to put the rocks on municipal land, which is this email which I got from Nikki, says that if the rocks are placed where they are right now and they're going to become the rock wall, they'll be totally fine to put it in a place. The second thing says that we damage the water line, which when I had a discussion with Nikki, I told her that I didn't have pressure in the house absolutely at all. If I flush the toilet and I make a shower, the second sink doesn't run anymore. Nikki said he's gonna send the guys from the workout look into it. They never came. I changed all the pipes in my house. I still don't have water. After all this work has been done, now they came. They say, "Well, you guys damaged it, and then it's a problem with it." Now I have pictures here showing that the water pit where the guys from the workout digged it, we never actually touched it. It's untouched by the excavator and the rocks. So you see the green around it. And that's one of the points which are there, which I'm really hoping that the council is going to take into consideration. And then even if we will be forced, because we worked around it, for the council to give permission to us to fix it. I talked to George from Kova Excavating, and then of course he knows how to do it because he does it for the village for many other people. Now, the other point there said that the village never give us permission to finish the rock wall or to go close more than 3 feet on the village property. It's a meeting which happened on the 5th of August with Nikki and George, and it's true, Nikki said 3 feet. The next day I came because I had a meeting on my own on my outside. I came the next day. Nikki looked at it for the distance and said, if we're gonna put it at 3 feet, people they're gonna think it's gonna be okay to park on the left of the street and on the side of the street because it's a very small street. It's gonna be a fire. The fire truck is not gonna be able to go in. So she said, how about you gonna move the rock wall from 3 feet to 2 feet? Now, somewhere along, this conversation got missed to pass along, I guess, in the work yard. Now, Nikki's gone since, and we never got. Now, the thing I'm here because I'm paying so much money for this. I'm paying for the machines to stay there, for the guys to finish the rock wall. Like, as everybody gonna be able to see, one of the finish of the rock wall, how it looks. And I would like to get permission for the council to get me to finish the rock wall. We actually stopped right there at the 15. At the Southview Place with the Linesway Avenue to be able to wrap it right around the front of the property, which is in our front of the house, like just anybody else in the village, to get the permission to actually work with it, do it nicely, and take care of it from one end to the other end. Thank you very much for everybody's time. And
Okay, thanks. A few questions then.
Yes.
I have several. So the rock wall we're talking about is the first one.
Yeah,
the one adjacent to the road.
yeah. The one is you have the hand on a corner there. We stopped it exactly at the corner, as you can see. Yeah, we stopped it right there at the corner, and then we like to wrap it right away in the front.
Is
Like
this wall
to eliminate? I would like. Sorry, I'm approaching. I like to eliminate this one, which is here,
Yeah.
with something like that
Yeah, sure.
to finish to be a nice view. It's a big corner for everybody. Everybody likes it. I might as well just do it. I'm gonna do it on my own money. The only thing I'm here right now because I have the equipment sitting there, I have everybody
Understood.
sitting there, and then I have this ladder coming in. I'm like, I just
Okay, so this is potentially all within administrative things, as you know. Council sets policy,
yeah.
staff execute. Quick question though: this wall and the new wall are all on your side of the property line?
No, that the smaller part, it's on a village property where Nick gave us permission to put it just for the people to not park. Like the post.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, here is that's the post, the property line right there. The pink ribbon is the property line again.
I see, yeah.
And then we just like to finish this to give a different look from the entire corner because it's a big corner right there. And then I talked to Louis from the Native Garden, and he said that definitely they are not interested. It's a little bit invasive because it's supposed to be just up to the shed where is the plants, says the paper regarding the plants, and all the other things they don't care about it. They would like to leave it to us, which is.
So the native garden people, because this used to be, their garden used to extend all the way there.
No, yeah.
Well,
but-
they did extend it, whether they were allowed to or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
So now they're okay with,
Well, they would remove all the plants, and we didn't start the work until I told Louis that, move the plants because big excavator is gonna come, rocks are gonna come, and everything is gonna be damaged. And of course, we delayed the work with 2 weeks because they didn't been able to move it. So I didn't been abusive, I didn't been in any way. I'm trying to approach it.
I wish we could give you a straight answer now, but we just don't have enough information. So we're going to have to request a staff report on this. This is the first I've heard of it at all. I didn't even know this was even at issue, let alone what your request was.
Yeah.
So let's request a staff report.
Actually, I'm sure they'll have executed it before we meet again.
Sorry,
They'll have executed
Thank
before
you.
we meet again.
Thank you,
I mean,
Councillor.
executed the report
executed the issue
satisfactorily.
satisfactorily.
Is that,
Well, I
is
mean,
that your
it's gonna-
intention, Anne?
It's gonna have to, I mean, the machines are sitting there, so
Yeah.
the cost is infinite,
Yeah.
and the work needs doing, and Nikki seems to be on side.
Are we
So-
talking thousands and thousands of
I'd
dollars?
Yes.
advise your worship that we don't discuss it right now. The public comment is only for comment, not to engage with the public. So,
Well, we need to obviously try and understand what the issue is, and I think we probably have enough understanding what the issue is. So what's the recommendation, Anne?
I prefer not to give you a recommendation right now.
No,
give
I mean,
council
how
some-
do we proceed?
I would
I-
suggest that why don't
You
you
just
give
thank-
Ann
you
a call
thank-
in 2 days.
Thank your applicant for his presentation and ask him to have a seat.
Okay. We'll take it from there.
Thank you.
Sounds to me like things are underway already. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so there
Do you want
being
your
no...
pictures back?
Go ahead.
Do you want your pictures back?
No, might as well. It's for
Okay.
you guys.
Do you have...
I know all the information on this. I can
Okay,
give you an
so-
update later.
Okay, so let's hang on to everything.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, this is
Ann, what's yours?
just to get the end there so they can pick the letters. Thanks. I hate surprises.
Then
Okay. We'll move to delegations. There being none, we'll move on to adoption of the minutes of the council meeting of October 6th. Anything? Motion to adopt? And second? Discussion? Rick?
Yeah, just one comment, if I could make it. On page 5 of 80, under committees, let's see, that's number 8D. I gave a verbal update on emergency stuff, not written. I had some notes to guide myself along on it, which Councilor McLaughlin handed off the recorder, so that's probably where an error was made, but it was verbal. Because none of the rest of you got any notes on it. Just thought I'd clear it up.
Good point.
Not a big deal, but
Got that, Shauna?
Got it.
Good. Thanks. Anything else?
Carl's, a very small thing, page 4, 6D. The first sentence doesn't read quite right, so it should go, council's proposal was to dispense with
Yep.
instead of of.
Yep. Good catch. Any more?
Becoming like Councilor Watterson.
Okay, motion to adopt. And second, all in favour? Opposed? Carries. Okay, so business arising. This starts on page 9. We'll whip through them. Shauna, perhaps we can number these items in future, just so we can say item 1. Doable?
On the report?
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so item what will be 1 in the next report. Yeah.
That's was reported on in last meeting already.
You sent the letter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this can come off the list?
Should be able to, I would assume. I
Okay.
don't know why it would remain.
Okay, Shauna? Got it? Done? Next one. There was no deadline set on this report.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a soft
That'll-
deadline.
That'll be a while.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So keep that on the thing, Shauna, but perhaps amend it to say with no fixed deadline,
No fixed deadline.
just so that we can remember.
Could that be at the front? So we're not reading the whole thing to
Yeah.
get to no fixed.
Yeah. Item 3.
again, we'll defer that one.
Okay, defer. Yeah, I mean that
Nikki
one.
is back.
This is potentially time critical in that it pertains to work that once the work's done, there will be no ability to check whether the work was done properly the first time. So
Well, my understanding was there wasn't anchor bolts in the rock wall the first time, right?
yeah, the question was what was supposed to be done.
Contractor claim.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, contractor claim, exactly.
Right.
Okay, item 4. That's not really an action item, is it?
Well,
8AI.
we were going to look into an emergency committee.
I think Fred was going to set one up.
well, I brought it up for discussion.
Yeah,
Am
that's
I-
a standing committee, and we have discussed it to some degree at infrastructure committee. Let's hold that one over.
The reason that it could be problematic is because we're discussing incorporating a number of other emergency response agencies. So we were discussing, what the composition of the committee could look like.
I believe there's something close to a statutory requirement for this, though, is there not?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't know if
It's a good
statu-
idea.
Yeah,
but-
I'm not sure if it's statutory, but I know Emergency Management BC strongly pressures each community to have one for preparedness.
Yeah, I mean this is going to have to go to the minister without portfolio because it's not really infrastructure, it's not really government or governance.
Well, it falls under the ministry that looks after Emergency Management BC.
Yeah, I mean internally, who would handle it? I guess
Oh, I
you.
see.
Okay, well we'll defer that one because we know that we probably just need to keep it on the back burner for now.
We need.
Okay, so just keep it going, Shauna. Thanks. The next one, I was actually to call the minister, not the ministry, but that got short-circuited with discussions that I had with the MLA. He then talked to the minister, and
That should
to
be
cut a long
fine.
story short, the application was, what's the word we used? Not objected to?
Opposed.
Opposed. We, given the tight time frame, administratively, the ICAO opposed it.
Just as an update, Your Worship, I believe Metro also did, because they also weren't able to receive the report because, or the.
They got it even later than we did. Yeah.
Exactly, their email bounced it back as well,
Yeah.
and so they also felt they didn't have an appropriate time to evaluate.
And just so that you know, unbeknownst to me anyway, a lot of the subject property, the actual parcel, is actually in the GVRD, not in Squamish Lillooet as we thought, and it's in electoral area A. Who knew? Now we know. Because I think we probably all, or certainly I did, assumed that the Squamish Lillooet regional district boundary was the Lions Bay northerly boundary. Well, it's not actually. There's about 400 meters still of GVRD, interestingly. Okay, so that one's done. It can come off. 1 out of 6 ain't bad. Next one, Anne?
The first one came off too, Your Worship.
Yeah, true.
I did not contact Pierre Friel, but I did talk to our public works people who talked to the people at Magnesia. Everything is being engineered. They have an engineer on site all the time. They have a geotechnical engineer on site all the time. And the modifications are such that the engineering is going to be appropriate.
It's being done. Okay. Is the budget being modified as we go along so that we don't have any more of these unknown budgets, so we don't know what our performance to budget is? I mean, we haven't seen any budget approval changes.
That's correct. That's
right,
correct,
so-
because the potential overruns were offset by some cost savings on the
fantastic.
other end.
Good, thanks. I chatted to Chair Moore about the new direction report, and he said, great, thanks for letting me know. That can come off as well. I did talk to Pat Karen verbally, and his name will actually come up a little later in other business. So you can take that one off, Shauna. And you were to send a letter saying that council had resolved to endorse the $10 a day program,
That's correct.
and that happened.
We sent the letter.
Fantastic. That's pretty good.
That's
Knocking things off the list. So we'll move to item 7, interim CA organizational report, page 11. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't
report.
realize you were looking for me to take it away.
I thought it was going to be that serious that you had to.
I thought it was two.
It's a good golfing.
I thought you were going to speak here, Your Worship. So this is just a forward from last time. Last time council wanted to think about this for a little bit. They wanted to table the report and give themselves some time to consider this. So it's just being brought forward.
Okay, so the recommendation is for two. Is it correct that 2 separate? Let's call it
That's correct.
sessions.
That's correct.
Strategic planning session and governance session.
That's correct.
Facilitated by you through your both your knowledge and the tools that you have available to you. What sort of budget are we talking about? External budget or additional budget?
Likely an external budget. The strategic planning with probably a day and a half to 2 days on site, and then production of a report and summarization and so on, plus the pre-work, is around 4,000. The governance session is not going to be anywhere near that. So we do have some extra room in our budget for this if
Yeah.
council's.
This is the kind of place where you don't have to spend your budget or you lose it. This,
No, I
so I'm all too happy to save budget where we can. Okay, so the recommendations are before you. I'll take a motion and a second and some further discussion. Motion and second. Second. You'll second, Fred? You don't have to.
Well, I guess I would, well, maybe I can't discuss while we're talking at this point, but I do have some reservations about strategic planning because of history. But a lot of it is how it's done and what you produce at the end of it. So my second is a tentative second, how's that?
That's fine. I believe according to the rules of jurisprudence, that's the second. So let's hear some thoughts.
Sorry, the motion is to accept the report, is not to go,
No, the recommendation
It's
is
to go forward.
is to do it.
oh,
When you move in second, though, you're just putting it on the table for discussion.
That's what I-
You can
And it
still
goes around.
choose
No,
to,
we haven't voted yet.
you can
Oh,
still,
okay, so
still
this
choose
was
to
not-
vote
okay.
for or against it.
okay.
That said, I would have thought it was an indication of support.
Well, that's right. I mean, somebody's prepared to move and second it, but we will put it to the vote, obviously.
Yes.
So, Fred, you want to embroider or elaborate on your thing?
Yeah, be happy to. What I discovered here, way back in the correspondence that we're coming to later, was, how did they put it? Sea to Sky Clean Air Society. Now they've got a strategic plan, short-term tactics. Well, first of all, they've got goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4. And under there, they got strategy 1, strategy 2, strategy 3, strategy 4 under each one of them. And each one of the things that they've gone and done, for example, goal 1 is to enhance organizational capacity, strategy, obtain financial advice, apply for grants, charge membership fees, development products and services to sell, organize annual fundraising events. Those are strategies. Most of the strategy planning meetings I've gone to, they talk about some theoretical stuff that's not measurable, not attainable necessarily, or is debatable whether you attain it. So I'm all for forming strategies that we can attain, but I don't want to take part in something where we just talk about the blue sky and how lovely the clouds are. I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but I can't really think of any other way of putting it. It's got to be substantive and useful so that we can measure our process. And if that's what we're talking about, I'm okay for it. How's that?
Okay. Helen?
Well, I'm all for having a strategic planning, a second session. However, I think that there have been in the past some residents who have experience in this area who has either offered their service for free or will charge a nominal rate, so we can, if cost is a factor, we can explore that route. And I'm sure, going back to what Fred said, we could tell the person who's facilitating this that we want to have measurable results, and it's not just a, pie in the sky kind of thing, and, this is our goal of this session.
Ron?
Thank you, Carl. I applaud the interim CAO for bringing this forward. My stance is a little bit harsher than Fred's. I value the stuff and I have the time to participate in this. The expense aside, which is it's an expense. My feel here is that the issue is a bigger one than kind of our tiny office. The issue is about the roles of the elected versus the staff thing, and the workloads and the staff doing operations. And as you pointed out to the residents, we do policy, we don't do execution. And I think there may have been a period in the first year of the term that some of those lines got blurred. I think that the council is at or near understanding of the roles and responsibilities, and I think that it's a poor time for this. I think that we've all come to the clear conclusion that our staff are hardworking and understaffed, and I think to take a couple days out of the rotation for everybody is a pretty expensive deal for not an obvious gain for me.
Yeah, I actually I reflect, I suppose, the right word, exactly the same sentiment. We have we did sit down, somewhat facilitated, and established 5 priorities, and these are they. This would be the poster version. The wider version, the table, does give deliverables. It says stuff like an AV suite. Some of this may not be achievable budget-wise or technology-wise, but it does give some fairly bite-sized deliverables. I would suggest that we are good for strategy for this year, especially given your. I don't have 2 days.
Well,
It's full-time as it is.
My participation is only 1 out of 10, so.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And as far as the governance session, I don't think so. We sat down and were given chapter and verse at the beginning, including George Cuff's books, which if you take as chapter and verse, tell you pretty much. I don't think anybody here disputes what the roles are. How that actually happens in small municipalities is another issue. So I would suggest that we're fine on the governance thing, and I don't see the additional benefit of doing that. I fully understand why staff would like this to happen. I think we're good.
Carl, if I may, part of this too, and I understand there shouldn't be any hidden issues, and that the interim CAO or the full-time CAO represents the staff to us. I think that certainly if there's some part that's off the rails, then it should come back to us in the in-camera portion for adjustment.
Very good.
And
That's
I
a
think
good point.
representing the council members, Carl, I think that certainly when you meet with the CAO, if somebody's off the reservation, then you would speak on our behalf too.
Yeah, indeed, including on my own behalf. So, I would suggest that this exercise would be more beneficially done with our full-time CAO when they appear. And it saves a lot of resources, both time and money.
I wanted to, okay, so I don't know, maybe it's not a strategic planning session, but it seems like, okay, so we do have this priority list. A few meetings ago, we went through a whole list of master plans. So I'm just thinking maybe we should take the time and sort of take a more holistic view of, we have those master plans, now we have a priority list. Somehow put those two together and identify which one we should tackle in what order and what's most important to us, because then we can take that and use that to guide staff with regards to budget planning. Because right now it's sort of, there's pieces of things. I don't know.
It's clearly not clear, because otherwise this wouldn't have come up. It's fairly clear in my mind that we have a strategic list that's been it's turned into the terminology as priorities, but actually I think the full document says strategic priorities with a lot of deliverables, and they're ordered. So the first one is communications, the next one is high livability.
And then so we decide, is this the priority, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
This is the poster that goes on the wall. The plan is the bigger thing,
So it's
and it
to
exists.
try to tick off all of the
No, as you say,
deliverables.
I think it's going to be guiding staff on budget. So communications. One communications thing is to fix all the signage in the village. Okay, well maybe we allocate X $1,000 next year to start that. Maybe one of the deliverables under communications is an AV suite for this room. Maybe there's no budget for that next year. But I think the strategy is out there as well as deliverables. I wish we had the strategy document that shows some of those. I'm not saying it couldn't be fleshed out a little better. And these master plans are not strategies. They're staff reports. Given the council doesn't write plans.
Were they? I don't know. I'm just thinking there's a lot of balls in the air and a lot of targets, and perhaps we should take the time to decide which one we want to hit first.
Yeah, I don't want to keep going round and round with this. We've been talking about this strategy document now for 9 months, and we put it together in January, if I remember correctly. And it seems to me that it's fairly well fleshed out, and there's deliverables in there. We can take another cut at it, not for $4,000 in 2 days, mind you.
I think a lot of that stuff's going to be accomplished through committee work this year that's already in play.
Did we not adopt the strategy already? I can't remember.
The final one?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we did.
Or,
I think we
yeah,
did.
the priority list.
Yeah.
Is that what you're calling?
yeah.
Well, it seems to me that the budget process pretty well dictates our priority list. when we see how many bulbs we can have in the air.
All the financial related stuff, but there's parking and there's other infrastructure stuff, emergency too. So I mean, it's all part of the deal. And then the communication piece. The budget tends to be a time when we're all together, and usually dollars equals projects. But there's some of the stuff that's priorities. Using parking as an example. I mean, that's not really a budget item of consequence.
Unless, of course, you're wanting to bring in parking meters and stuff
Well,
like that. Then
okay,
you gotta
so-
make, and if you want
Yeah, and
to
that
do the-
falls into the high livability section, which is number 2 on our priorities.
Well, for example, last year was what we, I don't know if it's a strategy, but we were calling last year the planning year. So what would 2016? What would we call that?
It would be our preparation year as we get our
Okay, so-
finances in order, and Carl learns to play nice with the new MP.
Well, I mean, so here's an illustration. So, changing government, you can bet that the budget department in Ottawa is scrambling to reflect an entirely new set of priorities that have been articulated in platforms by the new government. Same as us. I believe we've articulated our priorities, and I think it should be fairly clear with a bit of tweaking what the budget needs will be, and it all flows out of budget.
So may I ask, is it clear with staff?
Not necessarily. It feels as though there are always priorities being added, and that they're all identified as high priority. It feels as though it's a dynamic, constantly growing list.
I accept that as a fair comment. I really do. That said, I think that our crew is getting better with that than first couple of quarters out of the box. Quit smiling, Sean.
Well, I'd also
So-
say there's emergent situations. So we just had
So,
one. We
I mean-
had several today.
And I think that, on this one, I think that perhaps I would, however, Carl leads us on this one, but for me, the takeaway would be for the interim CAO to think if there's something hidden within this that you'd like to tell us, then you can do that when the time is right.
Yeah, I think that's very subtly put.
Yeah.
Okay, so the recommendation in front of us. Any further discussion? I'll go and call the question. All in favour of a facilitated strategic planning session and a governance session before the end of 2015? And opposed?
You do need to vote, councillor. If you
No,
don't
but-
vote, it will be affirmative.
No, but I will.
Okay.
I say
Sorry.
yes. I say yes to the strategic planning, but no to the governance.
Okay, you
So
want to
we're-
separate the question?
I would like to.
Okay, we'll separate the question. So, all in favour of a facilitated strategic planning session before the end of 2015? And opposed? That motion does not carry. All in favour of facilitated governance session before the end of 2015? And opposed? And that does not carry either. Okay, that's not to say, and that there's not plenty to discuss. What I suggest we may want to do is we'll talk on Monday in the Mayor CEO meeting about fleshing out the priorities document that exists and turning it into some sequential priorities. Okay, moving on. Page 15. Helen?
So here's our council priority list. I think we were wordsmithed it. I think it's good to run as is.
Yeah, I've had some input into this. Helen's done a third round of tweaking. So this is simply a motion to adopt this as the public face of the council priorities document. So I'll take a motion to adopt.
Will there be discussion on
Yes,
that?
yeah, we
Okay.
always have discussion after the
Okay.
motion. And a second. Okay, and so let's have some discussion. Ron?
Thank you very much, Helen. It's very short. Love it. I really do. The piece on the value volunteers. It's right below volunteers in the first sentences where staff and resources value and support. It would appear to me that we're separating staff as if they may not value the volunteers, which I'm sure was not the intent or believe the case. But it would also be that it's not just the staff but council.
Good point.
And so I'm really just looking for, and I hate to use the word smithing, but anything that would work for you.
Well, I'd suggest we do where
Where
the
we-
municipality
yeah.
values and
Thank you.
supports. Because the municipality is
All of
the
us.
budget, council, staff, resources, facilities,
Thank you, Carl.
but it does keep it on a sort of
It's-
official basis.
yeah.
Can you live with that?
Yep.
We'd have to say values and supports. I'll give this to you in final, Shauna, so you don't have to write this one down. Anything else, Fred?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I like the ad.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Right? Very good point. Helen?
No.
I don't have anything else. So with that one change, so Shauna, it would simply be to say create an environment where the municipality values and supports volunteers. Anne, any comment?
That sounds
The
good.
municipality, or the municipality rather than staff and resources?
Yeah. And then you'll have to say values and supports because it's different plurality. Okay, so we'll just do a motion on adoption with those changes. Do you have what you need to adopt, to make the motion?
Yes.
So it's been moved and seconded as amended. All in favour? And opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Good. Well done.
And then what do we do with,
Well, I'd suggest you talk to the CAO about that, but I'd suggest we get it printed up, much like we did that big poster for the village meeting for the water shortage thing. It was on sort of pretty nice, heavy stock. Shauna knows. It looked pretty good.
Shauna, can I get a copy for the front of my binder?
Why wouldn't you just print it on dye bond?
What's that?
It's a more permanent material that can be out. It's waterproof. It's weatherproof.
Yeah, I mean, I think that stuff.
Yeah,
Do we have any floating around? It's sort of almost fabric.
No, we paid
No.
it, we bought it, we didn't do it here.
It's like
Yeah, we've got it done.
like the plastic. It looks a little bit like plastic cardboard. You know, it's got the
Like,
Okay, well, I'll leave that to you guys.
like this, you know?
yeah
that's
that's
that
dye bond.
elastoplast or whatever it's
Yeah, like
called.
that.
may I
And-
suggest before we actually print it out on Dibon, we do have some graphic designers in the village. Maybe they can, pretty it up. Can we,
It's
for
fine by
free?
me. Yeah, that's
Can,
yeah. The production, I'll
everyone
leave that
okay with that?
to you and stuff. All I'd suggest is Shauna has the final look at it. I just want it to be in Calibri.
It will be.
The village font. Shauna says so.
and then how would we? Because I would love to communicate this out to all the villagers.
But it's municipal. It can go out in the municipal news.
Should
Will you talk about it?
I
Should we?
think it can be a staff issue.
Sure. Should we?
It needs to be cleaned up first.
True. Yeah. Let's
You
make
know,
it pretty,
a
but
nice border, colour. We've got to get rid of the word draft, and perhaps we're going to have a similar amount of space
Yeah.
between each
Carl,
paragraph.
you're cresting on a time victory here.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay, so we're all good there. It's already been resolved, so we have to be. We're going to move on to staff reports.
so.
So the first and only one is the 8A1 childcare program report.
Okay. Sorry, I see an RCMP report here, so I'm a little bit confused here.
It's an E.
Yeah, that'll be.
Oh, right, because this one wasn't on table. Sorry about that. My apologies. So this is the one, Your Worship, that the CFO spoke with you about?
Yes.
Oops. There you go.
Do you want to? I know what this is about because I happened to be here when the issue came up. But do you want to just brief the rest of council? Yeah?
Well, I wasn't here, but my understanding is that the The childcare program had approached the village regarding the use of some space, and the space did require some modifications, so there was an arrangement in which they were going to look after payment or implementation of those modifications that were required. And the village has received a bill in excess of what we had expected the amount to be, and so it does need to go to council for approval for payment if
Okay, so I
It's
mean,
agreeable.
this is just to remind us all, and I've been reminding myself and looking up at the record. So, as you recall, we had a special council meeting to approve the Lions Bay Political Society, non-profit society, to make modifications to the leasehold to meet the requirements of Vancouver Coastal Health.
Keep rash today.
Take your sweater off.
I'm sure what I'm wearing. Okay.
Don't write that down. I completely lost the train of thought. So, my recollection is that we said to the Political Society, go ahead and make the modifications that you need. Anything that results in an improvement in the value of the Lions Bay asset, in terms of permanent changes, whether they be smoke alarms or fixtures or plumbing changes or the step or film on the window, we will pay for that through a reduction in your rent.
That sounds about right.
That's pretty much what the discussion was. Go ahead and make the changes. Feel free. And we will pay for whatever improvement to the asset results through a reduction in rent. Then comes the invoice for $3,604. It could be argued that the job materials, that's the smoke alarms, fire extinguisher, 10 hooks, 10 window film, 4 cabinets, 3x9 front outdoor landing and 2 rails for pictures, that's the asset value increase. Those are fixtures, permanent fixtures that have been attached to the Lions Bay asset. The fact that the Play School Society needed 36.25 hours at $65 an hour to put those in is the Play School Society's business. That's what it took them to get it done. We did stipulate that they used an approved vendor. Turns out there was no approved vendor, and so the Lions Bay doesn't have approved vendors. So we did say that because it was under $20,000, 3 bids were not needed, and all they had to do was use a licensed contractor. That was our only stipulation there. We then also resolved that they worked with staff to implement the changes. I don't know what resulted. All I know is what came at the end was this invoice. So staff is recommending that council, I assume that the backstory here, Anne, is that we just take it as the 1,076 is the value of the asset improvement.
I believe that relates to the value of the materials, does it not?
But yeah, that's the value of the materials. But now you're suggesting that we actually pay that out in cash?
The value of the materials, you
Yeah.
mean?
To reimburse them for the let's call it an improvement to the fabric of the building.
Was there another
Simply reduce the rent.
understanding that?
The understanding was that in our discussion was so that if they decided that they were only going to take the thing for 3 weeks, we didn't end up reimbursing them for more money than we ever made. So what we were going to the understanding was that we would simply credit their rent payments against it,
I think you said offset it against
Offset,
rent.
yeah.
I'm not, yeah.
rather than pay them in cash.
Okay.
But I think Pam then suggested, our CFO then suggested, pay it out and just to keep it cleaner. So they would pay a flat, the standard agreed rent rate, which is how much, do you know?
I don't, I'm sorry.
I think it's going to be about $1,000 a month, presumably. So in the first month, they will pretty much cover the cost. And so that we would then recoup the cost that we had reimbursed to them. So it's sort of comes out in the wash. So if this is staff's recommendation that we pay the 1,076, has this been discussed with the Play School Society so they understand that the 2356 is for their account?
I don't believe that the CFO has been in contact with them about this invoice. The invoice came to us through council, which is kind of unusual.
That was
And,
their administrative error.
Mhm.
I will reiterate that your average resident doesn't have a clue that council doesn't administer. That's why.
you got the invoice?
It's also possibly that's the only email address they have.
Yeah. So, no, I don't believe that the CFO has been in contact
Okay.
with them.
But that's again, so why is the council, council doesn't approve other expenditure on the whole? I don't believe that we're going to approve the new fire alarm or the clock or the,
This is an out of budget item.
okay, go, because
And
it's external
so
to
then
budget.
the amounts that were discussed, my understanding is at that last meeting were considerably lower than what this amount is. And being an out of budget item at that point already, it needed to come to council. And given that the amounts are higher than were anticipated, it's coming forward again.
Yeah, I mean, as you remember, it was proposed to them through the CFO that if Public Works were to do the work, it would be, and it's here in the report, $1,000 to $1,500. They felt that it would be half that, but the issue was not the amount of money involved, it was the time. They needed it done by that Monday, hence the need for the special meeting because school was about to start. And they wanted to hit the ground running on the first day of school. So, I mean, the number in terms of the actual asset value improvement is about right, 1,076. The fact that it cost them 2,356 to get it installed is for the play school discount as far as I can see. But it seems to me they may not know that yet. So I mean, I'm quite ready for council to approve the payment of 1,076, even though some of the stuff is movable and some of it's temporary. The smoke detectors, for example. That's only because there isn't one
I
out there.
think it's within the spirit of the discussion.
Precisely. Yeah. So I'll take a motion in a second. We'll have further discussion if you want. A second. Any further discussion?
No, I think you're right.
Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my only comment is, I think the 2,300, the other amount, I don't think they thought that we would separate it out. So for us to then, we said that we will cover the cost and offset it against rent. And now we're saying we're not going to because it's over the estimate.
Well, there was no estimate. We said, as far as I understand, we've discussed this, but I'll reiterate. We said we would cover the cost of the increase in value to the fabric of the building. Now, it could be argued that the labor that it takes to increase that is part of the asset value.
Maybe that was the
The
assumption because
biggest
someone
issue
had to
here
put
is
it up.
the monstrous rush on this. It was like the ink was drying, the kids were coming, they're turning up on Monday, and who's going to get the stuff, who's going to do it. And I mean, looking at the CFO's things, costs are supposed to be $1,000 to $1,500. Now we're at triple
Turns out that was probably way underestimated, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
That's not our issue, because had we known that then, had we this then, we'd have had a different discussion.
Seems to me that we can certainly approve the 1,076. It seems that we may be hearing more about this later. I mean, the resolution was for staff to work with the Play School Society to take care of this, and I'm quite sure that we don't really need to be discussing this too much more.
No, to your point, I'm reasonably certain they said they'd take care of the labor when, however.
I don't think it was ever thought about. Council directs staff to implement the changes.
Right. I think
So can
we're-
we leave this then to staff to
Well, if
discuss?
That's
And then
it.
come back and
I
then,
think you and the mayor should toss coins on the way out for who's making the phone call tomorrow.
No, I said this is staff needs to talk to the Play School Society. This is not a policy issue. The only policy issue that's facing us right now is the 1,076 budget increase.
so can staff talk to the play school first and then see what the agreement is and come back with, what if it's, I don't know.
It's-
Well, they're getting a grant now, so if they wanna come back, they're gonna come back anyhow. so.
We can do it in two things. I mean, I'm quite happy to disapprove this one to go
Let's-
for now.
I think everybody's on side with what the ask is, what the.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favour? Opposed? Carried. So I suspect we'll be hearing more later,
Yeah.
but that's good for now. Thanks, Anne. Okay, moving on. Any further staff reports?
No more staff ones. No.
No?
Sorry.
Good. Mayor has nothing, other than, no, that'll keep. Council,
And
Ron.
Scott Gordon, I think the email, I'd done this before, the emails that I'd sent to council as a heads up. I didn't expect him to be here tonight, but he was, so we've got that one out of the way.
Is that what it was about?
That was about, I think he was going into the discussion, and I said, stop here. Amor, you're looking for advice, that's a no. So then we enjoyed our glass of wine, and that's why he's here, okay?
Yeah, if I can just interject, Councillor McLaughlin raises a very pertinent point, that council must seek to preserve its neutrality in all such discussions, so that proponents and opponents of any proposition are fully comforted that we are looking at all sides of the situation. So, well done, Ron, because you acted completely properly.
I'm sure everybody smelled the coffee in this one. Should it go ahead, it would be a nice deal. So, thank you. Second piece that I've got, I think, and really my commentary here is really to break the clutter on what I would call the financial calendar, the reporting piece. I think there's several emails had circulated on requests and dates and stuff like that. I think the most recent one that I had sent out, and that the interim CAO had, actually that Carl had sent out, I'd copied it. Long story short, it was a bunch of recommendations, and I called that document the baseline document, so no more emails on financial request reporting, and please have it come through me so I can work through staff on this one. The CAO concurs with me that the CFO is working on providing a financial calendar, and hopefully we'll have that for the next meeting. I think on Carl's original piece, and it went out for over a year, there was 36 odd dates. Some of them are just regulatory dates, others are work dates. I've got about 6 or 7 other items that I would add to it too. So I would hope to have that in our hands for the next meeting, which is the first of the month. I'm pretty sure the CFO will have the quarterly financial information for the second meeting of the month, which is the 45 days after the quarter. So I think that'll be the start of a whole bunch of things. That's my piece on that.
Okay, thanks. Give us a sense of when we're going to get a first blush of the budget.
I can't tell you that. Don't know. Haven't talked to the CFO in casual. Might be a little tough if I'm speculating on behalf of the CAO. Fire chief hasn't had the heads up yet, I'm going to guess, and Nikki's away, so I think that we'll probably get a good dose of what we're all going to be thinking about when we see the quarterly. Which I would project as a heads up is not going to be pretty. I mean, the operational is what it is, but at the end of the day, we're quietly bleeding ourselves here.
Yeah, well, as just to bring everybody up to speed, so Ron and I are, Ron is the point of the wedge, and I'm following close behind on budget production. And the first order of business is, as you've already said, is producing the calendar, so we know what the expectations are. With the end goal of being delivering the annual report and the SOFI to the ministry on or by the 30th of June. That's the end of the financial year, and that's when the next one starts. And so all the steps that we need to do to get to that point without panic and without rush produce the financial calendar.
I believe that, I mean, the issue with the delay of stuff is, of course, the CFO wearing triple duty or quadruple duty for the 2 weeks even though Haley was away. So a task nobody would want to do. So I understand she's catching up. She's a proud person. I'm sure we'll have that. I think on other stuff such as monthly reporting, my personal view is that's a no. But I believe with the quarter and our staff have in the past prepared cash flow analyses going out. So if you know what your cash position is, and staff knows what the average run rate per month is, short of projects that are underway, you can project what your monthly looks like. So that's not a very hard exercise to do. Staff's done it in the past, so it's, and it also shows the windfalls of revenue too. So I know, Helen, this is dear to your heart, so when the item comes, I'd be happy to go through it with you the first time, so I'm not trying to speak
No,
out of turn here,
no.
but I know that staff can click this out pretty quickly. In turn, just on the final piece before I go on, there's discussions about presentation and stuff like that. Let's get the first quarter in, and then we'll work on presentation as it evolves.
Remind me, did we resolve or indicate or in any way formally acknowledge the need for quarterly reporting before?
We may not have stipulated it, but for me, if it wasn't coming, I'd be first with my hand up.
Okay, so we
next
left it
meeting.
with you, I think. We
Yeah.
said you were going to work,
Yeah,
in your portfolio role, you were going to work with staff to produce.
but
And so the first quarter that we're looking to get results on is the third
September
quarter.
30th. Yeah. And I think my hope would be that, and I'm not putting words in the CFO's mouth, is that once we've agreed on the financial template, the financial reporting calendar, that this becomes part of her maybe a once a month report as to where we are in different things.
Yeah, well, I
So
don't
that
need
it's
to point out the
so that it's a
calendar.
live document versus, what's happening with something like that.
So just for the record, we have not seen financial for any period since December 31, 2014. It is now 45 days after the end of the quarter. I can only hope that there is a methodology in place.
Your worship, the quarter ended at the end of September.
No, it's November 15th.
It's not 45 days after.
Oh, it's October 15th, not November 15th.
That's correct.
Quite right, thank you. I can only hope that there is in fact a methodology in play that's checking on cash flow and everything else, because certainly council has not seen anything. I have no knowledge, let alone comfort, that I don't know what our situation is, none whatsoever. So I only have to take it on faith that we're not about to run out of money or cash flow. And the CAO and I have talked about this, and so this is being tracked by staff, whether anecdotally on the back of an envelope or very formally, I don't know. The council needs to be in the process so we can start seeing
To
it.
the end, and I suspect by using the September 30th, which will get 45 days over, here's your dividing line to do monthly cash flow.
Fair
It's not
enough,
very
yeah.
difficult after that.
Good. Okay. Thanks. Well, you're on it. I know, and we're on it. So I think we're sort of heading in a good direction there.
Yeah.
So thanks. Any other council reports? Council portfolio reports. Committees come next. Helen?
Well, I didn't, I wanted to put my report on table, but I
That's
don't
right.
think it doesn't follow under council portfolio, because it was actually just following on with what Ron had said with regards to receiving the quarterly report. So now that it's being done, can I just put it in so that it's minuted,
Received,
received?
fine.
Yes.
Okay. What are we talking about?
My request to
Oh.
have
Right,
a
here it-
quarterly
oh, here
report.
they are. Yes. Oh, you did bring copies, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, is it the same one? So,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
great.
we printed copies, have them
Which,
available.
thank you, Helen. I think we've covered this one, so it's.
Yeah, so
received.
it's,
Yep.
You can have it. Okay. So I'll move receipt. Can I have a second? All in favour? Opposed? Carried.
and then so to discussion point 2, we will get the first report, and when was it?
Second council meeting.
Middle of
In
November.
November.
Now there.
It's the 46th day after that.
As you recall, 3 meetings ago, we also had a slew of about 9 or 11 KPIs that you were going to take, and
Let's see what we get first.
let's see what we get. We deliberately didn't establish
Yeah.
deadlines and specifics, but clearly I think we all recognise, and I don't think there's any dispute that we need some information. Okay.
Oh, no. And then with that report, would it be in a similar format to, would you then take the numbers and present it to us
My
like that,
gosh.
so that I can understand? Would it be similar to that?
I tell you what,
Is that your
for
plan?
you get something special.
So
Well,
would it look
It's
like
another
this?
concern. I mean, you recall that you used to produce quarterly financial piece.
Yeah, and we
that
miss,
used to go in-
that's what I've been
You
looking
miss it,
for.
yeah, okay.
used to go in the municipal news.
All right, I'll work with staff on that one, and we'll see what we do.
I mean,
And I think
they're- thank
villagers
you,
would miss
fine.
it.
They'd miss it.
They miss it.
Well, okay, we'll talk
Council
to the
misses it.
CAO about that one. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Every additional task takes some additional
Well,
resources.
well, I think financial reporting
I
is
gotta
pretty
work
much
with
the
the
primary.
data,
So.
I need the data before.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay. Any other council portfolio issues? Communications? Community, infrastructure, budget. Government's not here.
If I have one question for the IC, is more to the CAO. Have we heard anything back from AECOM about a report for October?
I know, I left him a voicemail. I thought it would be good to call him, and I haven't heard back, so I've sent him an email. But the email was quite recent, so I have not heard back.
By chance, have you given them a request before deadline on it? Or?
Was there a deadline?
Yeah, like I'm thinking it would be kind of too late if we hear an interim report by the time we get to November. So,
Just to bring the rest of the council up to speed here, the AECOM, the contractor on the infrastructure master plan, $150,000 infrastructure master plan, was a late no-show to the last infrastructure committee meeting, at which I, in particular, and I think all IC members, were very much looking forward to his first substantive interim report. It is a stipulation in the specification that they report 4 times. Is that right? Maybe it's 3.
I'm not sure about the number. I know it was set up to coincide with our meetings so that we would have that many meetings or that many.
And it was about a
reports from-
3 or 4 month window on the contract, and specifically they were required to report to the infrastructure committee meeting on stipulated dates, which was the second Tuesday of every month, second Monday of every month.
Second Monday, yeah.
So that didn't happen. So they're technically not in compliance with the contract right now. He indicated in his apologies to Fred that he had a written report instead.
Or he was going to provide one to the CAO.
Okay, so
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Haven't heard it.
I'm distinctly not pleased, and I think it behooves us to follow up. You know, we're spending a lot of treasure on this thing. We need to understand what it is that where progress is going, so we can do. The whole issue here was mid-course corrections. So I'll leave it to your tender mercies, far tenderer than mine, to chase that one up, Fred.
How delinquent is he now?
Well,
The
it's
meeting
now
was the 12th? No, the 13th.
It's a week.
The meeting was the 13th.
week?
It's
Yeah.
been 1
A
week.
week and no live body or no report?
nothing.
He,
Last minute no show. I mean, literally an hour before.
he
I'd
has
have
family
to
emergency,
check
so
the
that
dates
may be
down.
Things
impacting.
happen phone.
Exactly, that may be impacting his response to it as well. I don't know.
I mean, presumably he had a report ready, unless he was planning on doing it in the car on the way here. So, grr. The mayor expressed chagrin.
Grr.
Okay, we'll move on to emergency service report, page 17, RCMP. There's not much to say here. There was one break and enter in the village. It was fairly serious. The subsequent, the upshot of that was the police called the resident, had found their ID and the ID of many other people from Squamish to Surrey in the car, stolen car, abandoned in Surrey. Of course, all the valuable goods that were stolen in this particular incident and 6 or 7 similar incidents up and down the corridor were gone, long gone. Okay, move on. Fire report. Quite a lot of rescues required. Is that unusual, Fred? MVA rescue.
Not really. It fluctuates here and there. Could be time of year, could be weather conditions, could be any number of things.
Yeah. So I see some say Highway 99, some say Sea to Sky. What is that?
Don't know.
And some say Kelvin Grove. Is that within the village? In other words, perhaps we can tighten up on this a little bit. Yeah. Again, why? Because I contend, and I am contending with the Minister of Justice and the Ministry of Transport, that we're spending a lot of our tax resource on provincial business.
Your worship, my guess is these specific descriptions come from the dispatch center because that's where the calls are logged. And that's where
Well,
the
maybe we need
information-
interpretation then, so
So
that I can
I
speak.
doubt that there's a lot of flexibility in actually changing the descriptions. There might be an opportunity to understand those descriptions better.
Yeah.
We might be able to.
Well, there can be a fourth column, tells us what we actually need to know.
We'll put in a request to,
Yeah, I mean, this is a report that comes from the fire department, not from the province. So they can say whatever they want on it. Okay, I mean, it seems to, it's quite interesting to me. On the 19th, we had an incident 20 minutes apart. Be that as it may. Again, I contend that we're spending a lot of our resource, tax, and emotion on provincial highways.
But we are paid back. And
We're
more
paid
so
some money,
through-
I don't know.
No, I think it's, I
What's the
think-
wear and tear on our engines? What's the emotional cost
Yeah,
in
that is
recruitment?
not,
What's I would prefer not to be making money on highway accidents. Okay, so we'll move on to resolutions. There are none, I believe. I know they're not because there's nothing there. So we're now on bylaws, page 21. What's the deal here, Anne? This is
yes, no, this is good. No.
so approves
Without approving third.
without reading. There's no
That's
third-
correct.
So we're simply
That's
approving
correct.
the wording as we see here for submission to Metro for final, their final say-so.
So, just some background, Your Worship. There was a public hearing, and you had identified some errors in the regional context statement.
Right.
So you had made some amendments, looked at the comments made at the public hearing, and whatever other amendments you wanted to make in this. And this is the amended version
Thank
that
you.
you have created in here. So it's for council's review.
The only thing that really changed from the version that's been going around for some time, I can tell you, is on page 29, and this was pointed out by a resident. We had previously said we would encourage wood stove change-out programs. He pointed out that that's kind of meaningless, and so I amended the wording to wood stove upgrade programs. For the rest, it was fixing typos, obvious cut and paste errors by the consultant who had a cut at this. I also point out that this is truly a workaround statement pending our own OCP update, in which we will then do, again, a new regional context statement that will go into the region's OCP, or what they call Plan 2040. So, this is...
It's a placeholder.
It's a placeholder. It is binding in that it will be an amendment to our OCP for the time that it takes to produce a new one. It may yet be that the OCP falls prey to budget. We shall see. So this is not a throwaway document, but here it is. I actually think it's pretty good.
If I may, on page 25 of 80, Metro computer on the fourth line down, I think there's a typo there, missing the A.
Oh, yes.
Not to be a nitpicker, but if we're...
Well, they don't have us on their maps. We'll spell their name wrong.
Okay, fair enough. Page 26, in the box on the right, I don't know. Nevertheless, Lions Bay recognizes the need to densify. I'm sorry I didn't mention this earlier, but I think maybe we should change that to is open to densification. Because we really don't need to densify, but we are open to it.
Yeah, good point.
And then page 27, in the box in the thing, we've got year 2011 population, dwellings, and employment. We don't have 3,103 employees.
You see, that's the thing that I completely forgot. I knew that consultant had put in nonsense, and I forgot to take out that column. That column's just spurious.
And on page 30 of 80, on the lower for out the backs. I'm not sure what it means on the last line of the second paragraph. 30% or more of household total income and shelter for.
So, sorry.
4 is the
where are we
footnote.
at?
Okay, it's a footnote. I would have thought a footnote would be a superscript or something.
Yeah, it's just that's seeming came out and the email reworks all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm assuming that staff will have one more go at this to fix things like that. Shauna? Yeah. No, that's a consultant's sentence.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. I mean, why is that important to us, our OCP? I don't know.
Actually, may I add, so what Fred has said about the, that first comment with regards to densification, could we actually even not use the word densify? Could we say something like increased housing? So no,
Well, that's not quite the same thing.
no, it's
No,
not.
they're different.
Densification means adding more people per square kilometre, yeah.
Yeah.
It means multifamily, in other words. Or smaller lot sizes.
Or smaller lots.
Again,
It's not a friendlier word. Because
well, it's a planning term.
densification is, okay,
You
it's
know,
not.
it's a sort of kind of the term that you would expect to see in an OCP. No. As I say, this is a placeholder.
All right.
You're lucky it's only in Woods.
Yeah. Okay, so anything further? Okay, so Shauna, just to run through them there. Goal 1, third paragraph. Nevertheless, Lions Bay is open to densify. Or do you want to say densification? Or do you want to say something else?
I'd rather not use the D word.
Okay, what do you want?
I don't know, because I don't know exactly the definition of densify.
Okay, well, it's a standard planning term.
Okay.
I say we leave it.
More and
Right.
less.
Under strategy 1.1, the first box, Shauna, the employment column comes out completely.
Under which one, sorry?
That there, where you got the
This
red,
whole
yeah.
box is
That-
removed?
That's just spurious.
Okay.
It cost us $2,000 to get that in there. Thanks for noticing that, Fred. And then the final one is, well, just in general, check all the superscripts simply by looking at the footnotes and checking them all. I did notice that they'd all become on the same line. Okay.
Your worship, if I could suggest that reading the entire thing, looking for superscripts, may take considerable time.
No, you just need to look at the footnotes. There's 4.
Oh, there's only 4 footnotes? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just need to re-superscript them. Okay. So the motion is to send this to Metro for approval.
Adopt as amended and send to Metro for approval prior to third reading.
Isn't aren't we just doing a third reading approval tonight?
If we were making any changes as a result of our public hearing, and I think the changes were relatively minor, but Metro wanted to have a look at it to make sure that
Oh, I see.
they'll do the final look through for us.
Yeah.
It'll come back then for third reading. That way we know that when we send it to Metro, they're not going to
As our
suddenly have some
adopted
alarm
RCS,
bells.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also point out that we're the last municipality to do our RCS. Yeah. Give us more money, we'll be the first. That's police.
Sure, call.
Okay, so I've made the motion, I'll take a second. Any further discussion? All in favour? Opposed? Carries. Thanks, Anne, that's good. This is a bit of a chicken and egg type of thing, unfortunately, but so be it. Okay, council remuneration bylaw. This is for adoption. No further changes are available. I'll move adoption. Can I have a second? All in favour? Opposed? Carried. List of correspondence. Ron, can you do us the honours?
Certainly. First one is, G1 is ultimately it's an LGMA opportunity to go to a course. I don't see that happening off the topic. The second one is a Day for Our Common Future, which is a global sustainable opportunity put on by the Coast Conservation Society.
Are they asking for a resolution, a proclamation?
yes, which is on page 43.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I'll just take around the table,
Do you
shake
do,
or nod.
do you do proclamations, Your Worship?
Well, we have. We do declarations. We'll do anything.
For fee?
Well, especially for a fee, yeah. Publicly acknowledged fee, of course. Shake or nod?
Nod.
Nod. Ron?
No,
You're good with making a proclamation? When the Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland presented the report
well,
on behalf of the World Commission on Environment and Development of no known body
well, I agree. They are at the UN General Assembly, though.
in 1987.
Oh, sorry, I missed that piece. Thank you. I may shake then.
Okay, I shake. Okay, no proclamation. Proceed.
Actually, I should have read my notes. It said decline.
It does actually. I can see from here.
This is G3, a new direction. This is from Mayor Masato.
Yeah, I just gave the word to Greg Moore. Masato writes a full letter.
Yeah, there
He's
we
got
go.
staff.
G4, Federal Comprehensive Lands Clean Policy, which went on forever and ever and ever. I was trying to get to what the ask was. It wasn't clear.
We were to endorse it, I believe. If I'm looking at what North Van did, they sent the letter to the chair of the Metro Vancouver, then endorsed the report, and the mayor was required to write a letter to the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs and Northern Development Canada, blah blah blah. I think our reaction where I had a chat with Greg Moore is adequate.
Good, thank you. Then my eyesight wasn't so good. G5, I originally thought this was an annual Table Manners event, but it's an annual Table Matters event. And I thought that perhaps we should all go to
We could have
that.
used the first one.
Yeah, there we go. It's from the Edible Garden Project Manager, and it's they're asking one of us to do a 1 minute reflection on local food. I'm going to suggest we pass.
This is not something we go to because we are a member of the North Shore Community Food Charter.
I don't recall one of this. I don't even recall this.
Joanne used to do the last term.
Joanne?
Yeah.
Well, there's two asks because they're also G7. So one is the ask for a speaker, the other one's the event.
Well, I mean, I don't want to bypass this. Helen, this is your bailiwick.
Do you have
If-
local food systems here within the municipality, Your Worship? Are there local food producers here to
Are you
support?
kidding?
Or, sorry,
we have a small garden.
We have a native plant garden.
No, we have a food garden.
Oh, we do down the back. Yeah.
Yes. No, but if I'm free, I'll go.
Okay. You gonna
Okay.
remember that?
I'm
Okay, so you've got it, which then also takes you to G7, which is the invite to go.
Now, the Clean Air Society, that is near and dear to my heart. However, they're talking about money. There's a membership tiers,
Well, and it's about the membership, and
talking $300, and we haven't. I don't believe we've budgeted that.
No, nor am I sure, and actually, I'm not sure, it's not like this just came out of nowhere, whether we have done this in the past or not.
I believe we have. I believe we're members.
Okay, well,
I don't think we paid any membership dues.
I don't
before.
recall the 300.
No, that's
so
new. I'm pretty sure that it was previously sort of member-led and run. Why don't you leave this with me, seeing this clean air is it's something I'm pretty interested in, and I'll talk to Ruth Simons about it, because she was the one who originally put the whole thing together.
For the $300.
I mean, if it comes down to it, I'm happy to pay for that myself as a donation to the village. That's not the issue. Leave it with me.
If you're going to be like that, we could find something bigger.
You should see what I've done for the field.
Thank you.
You should see what other
All right, so we're down. So we're down to the.
3 residents contributed over $1,000 each to the school field.
Oh, that's
Check.
Thank you. I'm not gonna be smart about that, thank you. The Heart and Stroke Foundation's the last one, it's about certification. So it looks like they're asking if we want to send somebody.
Yep.
So it could be a municipal employee, could be somebody, could be a resident, don't know, I defer.
Well, this is all part of the emergency planning thing. Is this anything to do with our AED device?
Well, I didn't get that they were looking for somebody to send, or for us to send. When I read through it, it sounded like that it was a reminder that if you're going to get certified, make sure it's up to date, which seems kind of redundant because if you get somebody to come in to do your certification on AED, CPR, and all that sort of stuff, they can't teach unless they are certified to train the most up-to-date things. So maybe I misread something, but I don't really understand the point of this.
Well, the second to last paragraph is please note that current certification is still valid until expiry.
Right.
So.
I think this is just a call to action from them.
Okay.
I suggest that staff forward this to the fire department
Okay, then.
because we have nobody else to. Which staff are AED certified?
I don't know that, Your Worship.
Well,
think
probably
we
we have an
all
army
I
of
think
individuals up the hill.
You got training when the
We
AED
all
device
did,
came.
like,
The AED came, right?
involved here,
But you don't have to be certified to use one. Anybody, a member of the public, is free to use an AED.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But of course, due diligence is better off. with
Yeah,
what
sure.
we're doing. I should also add the ESS team is certified as well. And they were certified by the fire department certified instructors. So I think staff were all done with onboard crews as well. So I think we're all up to speed in the village on that.
Fine.
But people should just check the expiry dates and see what we're doing.
Okay, we'll just leave that with staff now.
Okay.
It's mostly headed towards the fire department, was potential to the ESS. Good,
It
okay.
was already sent to the fire department.
Oh, okay, even better. Done. New business.
Sorry, going back to that action, who is dealing with this?
We can leave it because it's already it went to the fire department separately and direct. I mean, I'm assuming there's a procedure in play to ensure that the people who need AED certification continue to be AED certified. Okay, don't need council resolution on that one anyway. Public questions and comments. Seeing none, we'll move to a resolution to close the meeting under sections C, G and J of 91 of the Community Charter. Can I have a motion? And a second, all in favour, opposed, carried. Okay, so the meeting is now closing. All who should not be here should not be here. Okay, following a resolution to extend the meeting by 15 minutes to 10:15, we are now coming out of closed session and reporting out the following item. That council has resolved to approve the terms of reference for the Village of Lions Bay Select Parking Committee, which will be published and minuted in the open as amended. The amendments comprise changing a typo on a date and setting the meeting day. And council further resolved to appoint Ruth Simons, McKill, anybody?
Where's this?
Roel,
Oh. Is it unreadable?
Cambers Zorigan, and Leslie Nolan as the resident members of the committee. The terms of reference of the committee will be published in the open minutes too. Okay, does that fairly reflect reporting out? Okay, good. So final remaining item on the agenda is motion to close, I believe.
Yep.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn the regular.
Second, all in favour, opposed, carried. Thanks. Meeting end at 10:03.
10:03.
Do you want to? 10:03.